Hey guys, Michael the Comic Nerd here. Just want to do a quick vlog review, well it's probably not going to be quick, about the new movie that just came out today, Prometheus, which is the Ridley Scott Alien prequel. So let me say right off the bat, before I get started on my rant or my spiel or whatever I'm going to talk about over the course of the next, most likely 20 minutes, I like this movie. I thought it was pretty good. I was very impressed with some of the stuff they did. Not so impressed with others, but I'll get to that in a moment. Yeah, it delves into a lot of interesting philosophical issues. The world it's create is fantastic. The visuals are amazing. The world is fascinating. The acting is pretty good, but again, more on that later. That's about as spoiler-free as I'm gonna get. If you haven't seen it, go. I recommend it. It's a good sci-fi movie. It's the best I've seen in a long time. Okay, now for spoiler territory. One thing I really like this movie, it surrounds the central area of, the central question, I mean, is like, who made us, why are we here? One of the great big philosophical questions we all ask. And, at least that's how it starts out. No, it's still a central theme for most of the movie, but yeah, that's pretty much what it's all about from beginning to end. It's just to investigate and answer those questions in the way that sci-fi movies ordinarily do. So on that note, it's kind of a hit and miss in regards to how well it delves into this particular question, because that's always a good question, and it's always interesting, fascinating to see what answer you can come up with, if any at all. But I got mixed feelings about the way they kind of handled this. Let me start off with what's good about this movie, because there are a lot of good things about it. And I want to give you an impression. I did like this movie. One thing, first off, the visuals, like I mentioned before, are fantastic. Obviously, it's in the Alien universe, so you got all those dark corridors and the ships and like the dark ships and the creatures and the maps and the lighting. The lighting is fantastic. Like right off the bat, like the red and the yellow and the contradictory lights, and the world just looks amazing. And just the universe they create and the creatures that live in it is fantastic, and it's fascinating, and I really liked seeing them explore this, and like the whole movie surrounds these big body white aliens that they call the engineers, and the whole plot of the movie basically is like two archaeologists. I'm not sure what you would call them, whose names I honestly can't remember, who basically, they find through various different cultures that people are worshiping a tall man pointing at a specific set of stars. And they found the stars, and that lead them to this planet called, again, they get like LV-126, something like that, on the ship called Prometheus. That's the basic plot line. And then they basically, when they get there, they find the basically abandoned ship of the abandoned base of the engineers and all the crazy shit that goes on there. And all that is very, very interesting, and I really loved that exploration, the world, just delving into this really fascinating world with just fantastic visuals, and I just kept waiting to see what else they would do with it, and they do some very good things. So all that's really, really good. The acting, for the most part, it's pretty good all around. The main problem is the acting's good. The characters themselves, apart from one, and I'll get to him, the characters themselves are not very interesting. Like, they're kind of, I won't say all of them are one-dimensional, but there's two guys, introduced at the very beginning of the movie, are just meat sacks waiting to die, pretty much. They're not really given any personality. Well, they're given stereotype personalities, but they're not really delved into, they're not given any depth, although they do seem to be the only ones with... Actually, I'm going to stop right there because that's not true. But yeah, so like there's a lot of stereotypes. Charlie's, what's her name? I think it's Charlie Theron. The chick that was in Snow White that just came out last weekend is in this one too, and she kind of plays like the angry, over-the-top kind of commando female leader of the ship who has her own thing going on. She's not. I think they try to give her depth, but she's still not very... I never really particularly found her all that interesting. She just seemed kind of like that one character in every horror movie that's always angry and always trying to pursue an agenda and always fighting the heroes to do what they know they must do and all that crap. And it's effective, but I never really found her all too intriguing, although God knows they tried. The main couple of the film, the people who discover all the symbols, the girl I liked alright. She was like second most developed character in the movie. And the husband on the, like, not the husband, the boyfriend, yeah, he's pretty much a douche. Oh, light went out. But it's like, I'm gonna spoil it. He dies at some point. Pretty much almost everyone dies. He dies at one point, and I get the feeling you're supposed to care that he died, but quite frankly, he's kind of a douche, so I never really understood why I should. Like, that's kind of what my nose itches. It's like, I just never really cared. It's like, it didn't really bother me, it didn't really affect me, so it's like, unfortunately, when the horror starts going down, you really don't care much about any of the characters in the movie. Except for one. And that is Michael Fassbender as the symbiote, like the robot Dave, who is amazing in this movie. I think it's probably the best Michael Fassbender role best Michael Fassbender has done up to this point. Really, really impressive stuff. Just because it's so subtle. Like, it's one of the most subtle performances I've seen in a very, very long time, and he does it so well that it blows my mind. Just the way he moves, the way he talks, the way he acts, like, he's a robot, he's a robot, and he's supposed to be soulless, and yet you get just very subtle hints of human quality. Like, he does feel, and he does have motivations, have desires, have wants, although it's questionable whether he actually knows it or not. In fact, you really spend most of the movie trying to figure out what he's thinking, what he wants, what he's trying to do. And all that is great. And Mike Fassbender is like, knocks it straight out of the freaking park. And I loved it. Like, he stole pretty much every scene he was in, undoubtedly. I mean, you kind of get the idea that he's the bad guy. He is and he isn't. But just the way he handles, the way he talks to people, like, he's easily a contender for one of the best blockbuster characters of the year. And I'm saying that considering all the characters and all the movies that are coming out later in the summer. I still think this is going to be a strong contender. It's just go watch it if you haven't already, because it's something to behold, and it's truly fascinating. And I love that. Now here's when the movie starts to fall apart. At least for me, anyway. It's like, while the world is great, the visuals are fantastic. Like, Michael Fassbender and that one chick whose name I forget. Whatever. All that's great. The point where it starts to fall apart is when it comes to the story and the pacing. Like, those are the two major things where everything kind of starts to fall apart after that. I keep touching my nose. I know. I just got like a weird itch already on the tip, but I'm not going to focus too much on that. So what I mean by where the story falls apart? Well, when the horror actually begins, like, that's pretty much where everything starts to fall apart. Because, first off, the movie doesn't really explain much, and I only found out after I saw the movie that it has the writers from Lost on there, so that kind of explains a few things. But my main issue with this is that there are almost too many different monsters in this movie that don't really have any kind of explanation. Well, we're given a very vague explanation. It's not a very good one. It's like, we're getting very vague explanations. They're not really built up too well, and they never really come up again. Like, that's my good thing. Like, at least with the other Alien movies, it has two aliens. The facehuggers and the actual the black aliens. And they kind of go hand in hand, so it's hard to consider them separately. This one has, like, 5. Close that. Like, 5 freaking aliens, and most of it only appear, like, once. And it's like that for me. Wait, 5 or 6? That is not important. Where was I? Yes, the aliens. There's 5 different kind of aliens. They're not really explored all that well, and only one is like given any kind of backstory or anything like that. The rest just kind of appear and they disappear just as quickly. And then like a lot of shit happens all at once. It's just with all the different kinds, it really loses focus, in my opinion. Like it kind of loses itself. And all the brouhaha. Sorry, I thought I heard something. The aliens are getting to me. And that was the majority of what really bothered me and really kind of took me out of the movie, which is like it seemed to lose focus towards like the second and third act. And even then, the pacing kind of jumps all over the place. Like some places are really intense, then like there's whole periods where it just kind of just slows down. And I'm usually okay with that, but it's like it towards the end, when it gets to the climax, like it should be building and building up, but it really doesn't do that very well. Like everything just kind of happens, and you're not sure exactly if you should care or be invested or anything like that. I really wasn't just invested in many of these characters, except for Dave, who's fantastic. That being said, like the CGI and stuff like that, and the finale was great, and the finale, it was a pretty good finale, I would say, given the circumstances, but I don't know, I felt like it could have had a better build-up, I felt like it could have better execution. Like, I can't think of it. Oh, some of the characters in this movie are fucking dumbasses. Like, there was a biology expert, like, he's the first one that bites it, and he has good reason to bite it, because he's a fucking idiot. Where, like, they're in this big chamber where there's a giant face. You've probably seen it in the trailers where there's, like, containers all over the place that contain some kind of goo that's gonna kill everyone, pretty much. And at some point, like, the biology and this geologist guy walk into the room because they're lost. And this little toilet snake that has, like, a vagina face kind of pops out there. And, like a dumbass, he just comes up there. He's like, oh, don't worry about it. I'm sure he's friendly. Yeah, I'm sure he's friendly. Fuck you. Run, you stupid little bastard. But no, he keeps going. He's like, no. Come here, baby. Come on, baby. Come on. Are you stupid? Are you retarded? And yeah, of course. It bites him on the head, wraps around his arm, breaks his arm, guts in his face, and he turns into a zombie. I don't know how. I just kind of went with it. But it's like, you know, if you're stupid enough to see a giant toilet snake come out of the ground and you want to play with it, you deserve whatever fate you get. I mean, straightforward facts. You are an idiot. You deserve to die. In fact, that goes for most people in this movie. Like keep touching shit when they really shouldn't even touch anything. It's like, and at some point, especially towards the end, like, the motivation for the main character girl was starting to get more and more questionable. Like, what happens, and again, spoilers, I've already spoiled a lot up to this point, but I'm going to continue to do so. It's like, the main character gets, like, impregnated with, like, I can only assume is the first facehugger. So she has to do, like, an emergency C-section, a very intense scene. But right after that, he meets up with the later guys, like, well, we know one of the engineers is still alive, because all the engineers are dead up to this point, but they found one that's in cryogenic stasis. It's like, and we're gonna go talk to him, and instead of going, like, dude, like, let's get the fuck out of here, she goes, well, okay, I still have some questions, let's go. No! Run! Go! You're better off not knowing, you're just asking for trouble, and they found it. So, yeah. Pretty much everyone in this movie is a goddamn idiot, except for Dave, but only because he's pursuing his own agenda. I'm talking a lot of trash about this movie. I still liked it. I mean, it was, again, it's probably one of the best sci-fi movies I've seen in a long time. Even if I am talking a lot of shit about it right now, I still enjoyed it. Because there's a lot to enjoy. I can't think of what much else to say. But, like, it was a very good movie with some. There's a lot to like about this movie. It asks some very interesting questions that I wish more sci-fi movies would make. And not perfect. It's still worth seeing. And it doesn't really answer anything about the Alien franchise. It kind of does, but at the same time, I'm not really sure it's meant to. Like, I was watching another video talking about it, and it's like, it made a very point. It's a movie that can stand on its own without really having any involvement with the Alien franchise whatsoever. In fact, if it wasn't for the very end, it probably wouldn't have any connection with the Alien franchise. It could easily stand on its own. But yeah, I still like Prometheus. I thought Ridley Scott did a pretty good job. Visuals are great. Acting's pretty good. Yeah, I'd say it's worth seeing. So, if you haven't already, go check it out. Even though you pretty much know everything that happens now. I've left a few surprises. Have fun.